Gamers, goobers, other kinds of YouTubers, how's it going? I just finished the third leg of my journey in Dragon Age Inquisition, and so now we're gonna do what I think we've settled on. These are Dragon Age Inquisition diaries. All right, video game diaries, is that a thing? I don't know. It doesn't matter. That's what we're doing. Okay, listen, Dragon Age Inquisition. All right, we've made it through what I would consider to be the full intro of the game, right? This game had like a little intro tutorial sequence that ended with the title card, Dragon Age Inquisition, wah, rah, right? That's super cool. After you get to Haven and stuff, after you seal your first little rift, that was nice. But now we've done it, all right? Last week we did the little time travel adventure. That was pretty wild. You can go back and watch the video that I did about that. I was pretty blown away by that. And then this week we met the man responsible. I don't know if I would call him a man. He's something, you know? He's definitely something. Yeah, the guy responsible. We met him. We put a face to evil this week. And holy shit, I think it was really good. I was blown away when I was playing it. And I'm really impressed now. And the more that I've thought about it, the more that this story has really grown on me and really impressed me. But let's back up for a second, because we did some stuff before that, right? We left off last week ready to take our mages that we had saved from Alexio, whatever that guy's name was with the red hood. We took our mages that we had saved from that dude, and we were ready to go to the breach to seal that shit up and finish the game. Yeah, we were right at the end of the game. That's what it felt like, right? Totally. It's exactly what was going to happen. I didn't expect anything else to happen. Weirdly enough, this is actually another good place to point this out, where the game really kind of turned my expectations on their head, right? We go to the breach, and now I'm not joking now. I'm being serious now. We go to the breach. We have our force of our mages, and obviously, we've been playing this game for 8 hours, 10 hours at this point. Not that long, right? Maybe 12 hours at the most if you've done some questing and stuff on the side. We've really not been playing that long. So we, as the player, know this ain't it. This is not going to be the end of the game. It can't be, right? It simply can't be. It can't end this early, right? It's a BioWare game, after all. But we go there, we get a special cutscene, and it does a good job at riding the line between being believable that we're actually closing it and leading you, the player, on to think this is going wrong. This isn't going to work. Yeah, I really didn't think it was going to work, and to my surprise, it worked. It actually worked. We sealed the breach. We did it. We stood there. All of our mages backed us up, and we used our special little power. Our little hand power, and we sealed up the breach. And I was, at this point, I was just kind of partially confused, but also just locked in, because I knew this story had just impressed me so far up to this point. I knew that we were heading somewhere really cool. So we seal up the breach, we head back to Haven, everyone's drinking, everyone's partying, everyone's letting loose, right? All of a sudden, someone bursts through the doors. It's a scout or someone, and they're like, oh my god, there's an enemy horde is advancing on us. And we run out to see, holy shit, that's true. There's a bunch of enemies coming in. We are about to get our shit kicked in. This is not good. There's a short little battle sequence where we man some trebuchets. We start an avalanche to sort of wipe out a large section of the enemy troops. Destroys the fuck out of our trebuchet, which really sucked, because I think that trebuchet was also my favorite character at this point. I love a good trebuchet, okay? If there's one thing you take from this, one thing you should learn about me, is that I'm a big trebuchet fan, okay? If I could romance the trebuchet, that's what I would be doing. Where the fuck am I going with this, chat? Anyways, there's a whole sort of Helm's Deep almost-ish subplot here, except it's not really Helm's Deep at all, because there's I think a guy who's a priest or a cleric or something like that reveals to you that there's a secret passage to get you guys out of Haven, right? but you decide to stay behind with your dudes, your small party, to buy everybody some time so they can get the heck out of here, right? And while you're doing that, that's when he comes into the picture. His design is interesting. I'm not sure exactly what I think of it right now. I am still kind of stewing on it. I've played for quite a bit after this, but it's still kind of fresh in my mind. I really like it though, because I think the whole red lyrium thing has been pointed out to us repeatedly throughout our playthrough, right? I think it was like in the very first quest, Varric makes note of the fact that there's red lyrium, which is like this red crystal stuff that's growing around where the rift came up. And when you go into the future in your little time travel escapade, there's red lyrium all over the palace. It's like growing into some of the prisoners. It's coming out of people. It's infecting them. It's doing something. It's not really been clearly spelled out to me, or at least I just maybe it was and I just didn't read that part. I'll touch on that in a minute. Yeah, this guy has red lyrium growing all over him, and it really kind of drives home the point that like, oh yeah, this red lyrium, this is something important, this is something that I should be paying attention to. And oh my god, it's kind of driving me crazy trying to figure out what exactly his deal is, because the only other place in the game so far that we've seen such an abundance of red lyrium, I guess in the beginning there was quite a bit, but in the future was really where like there was a lot of red lyrium. And so now like my brain is kind of spinning, and I'm wondering, does this guy, is he maybe, what if his name is Corypheus, by the way, or Cory, as I'm gonna call him Cory, okay? Cory in the house. Cory in the house! Party! Is so disfigured that I'm almost starting to wonder if Cory is somebody that we know, or maybe he's someone that we're going to meet, but he's from the future, so he's a future version of that person who's used time magic to come back to the past, and maybe being from his future, which I think would be a different future than the one that we time traveled to. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm theory crafting on the spot right now. I'm sorry, it's gonna get wild. What if in his future, we are somehow responsible for the accident that caused him to get all disfigured and red lyriumed out, you know what I mean? That would be crazy. And then, because there's something that they point out in the game when he's advancing on the keep, and that is that he only cares about you. He doesn't really care about wiping out everybody in the Inquisition, but he'll do it to get to you, because that's how much he just wants to fucking kill you. What if he hates us so much because of something we did in the future? But no, I don't know. I don't know if I'm convinced of that, because remember, there is that thing in the beginning where, and he says this too, actually. He spells this out. I don't know why I'm going so far out in the weeds here. But he says that us, the player character, interrupted some kind of ritual in the Fade in the beginning, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I think one thing I will say that I'll kind of like pass a little bit of judgment on is that very first scene that I guess is in the Fade, which I'm still not completely clear on what the Fade even is. It's really dark. I guess are like, you're running through, there's some spiders. I don't know. Maybe it's just like, maybe it's the old graphics. Maybe it's like the lighting. I have the brightness turned down too low. Something about that scene just didn't really like stick with me. I think it could have been stronger. I think it would have been cooler if it was. Because frankly, it kind of just leaves my brain sometimes. But yeah, anyways, I'm getting like way off track here. I need to pull it in. There's a lot to be like speculating about at this point in the story, and I think that's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying myself with this. But let's move on in the story. So after this showdown happens, and it is like a showdown, like he runs up to you, surrounds you with like he's in front of you, getting ready to like blast you or something, and then like his little dragon, which is like a weird like undead demonish looking dragon. I think they even call it like an archdragon or an archdemon or something like that. It's not like a regular dragon, I think. At some point I really need to catch up on the lore. But anyways, after your little showdown with him, he throws you against the last remaining trebuchet. My love, the trebuchet. And you kind of like do a little distraction, you do a little diversion, and then you launch the trebuchet into the hill behind you guys, and it causes an avalanche. And then he is like, oh shit, an avalanche, snow, my one weakness. So he flies away, and you jump behind something or under something so that you don't get destroyed by the avalanche. And then that's kind of the end of that encounter, of this conflict. But it's served its purpose at this point, right? We've been introduced to Cory in the house, and we are ready to I don't know. We're just kind of like, we're kind of freaked out, I think, at this point, or we're meant to be. After this, we're just kind of like rambling through the snow, looking for where everyone else has gone. And thank God our friends find us, and they bring us to our new headquarters, which is really cool, but a little weird, because I felt like I had just been kind of, Haven had just started to grow on me, especially after like there was this weird subplot last week where our landlord shows up and tells us we have to get the hell out of here. And then we tell him, no, we're not leaving. Fuck you. We paid first and last month's rent already. We're staying. And yeah, I don't know. Haven had kind of been like growing on me, I guess. So to kind of abandon it is a little weird, but I will say the new headquarters is super cool. I absolutely love it. There's like a throne room with a throne that is really cool. I think it's like not too gaudy, you know, it's not too much, but it's enough to let people know, like, yeah, I'm really in charge now, you know? And at this point, I should also point out that you are appointed, anointed, declared to be the Inquisitor. You are now officially the leader of the Inquisition, which I think is really cool. It still does feel a little bit weird because it does have that kind of BioWare thing of, you're a stranger to us, maybe you're even our prisoner, which is actually what the case was in this game. And now all of a sudden you're one of us, and maybe even kind of a leader, which feels weird, right? Like, why are you letting me lead you? I was just your prisoner 2 minutes ago. But I think I see what they were going for, like a gradual build up to you being like allowed to be part of the group, and you know, form bonds, strengthen your relationships. I don't know. I can't tell which direction I'm going. Strengthen your relationships, grow to be a bigger part of the group. And then now, after the big conflict, after countless people have been slaughtered by Cory, now they're like, listen, you are the chosen one. We do need you. Let's make it official. You are the Inquisitor. I think that's cool. It felt good. I really liked it. Oh, also, I can't believe this got away from me. This is a rewind. There's a guy who comes to warn you that Cory is coming, and that guy is your newest, and I think, hopefully, your last companion that you're going to add to your crew. I'm starting to lose track of them. There's kind of a lot now, but I think we have everybody, and that's Cole. And he's like a young man who is kind of a mystery. He's kind of an enigma right now. He seems to have a power that's maybe kind of like the Echo from like Final Fantasy XIV is like, that's where my brain's at right now. But he can like feel the feelings or hear the feelings or feel the thoughts of people around him. It hasn't been made super explicitly clear yet, and I haven't spent that much time talking to him because I am still trying to get invested in all the other relationships that I've got going on. But yeah, at this point, our party is complete, and Varric takes us to meet Hawk, who's come to join us at Skyhold for what our next mission is going to be. And Hawk was told, and I wasn't sure, but Hawk is, I guess, the protagonist from the previous game, and I guess if you load your data from that game, he actually will have the appearance of your previous main character, which is super cool. I kind of wish I had played the games in order now, but whatever, I don't know. I'm not going to go back and do it at this point. Or if I do, I'm going to do it after, but you know, we'll see. That's a cool touch, but at this point, the quest that he gives us, I think we need about like 20 power to do. So after all of this stuff had gone down, after I'd had these like tender moments now, like I got appointed the Inquisitor, and then I went around talking to everybody, seeing which new like flirtatious lines of dialogue were available to me. At this point, I kind of just had to go grind out some quests and raise my power level. And I think this is probably the last thing we'll talk about in this video. I feel like the questing structure of Dragon Age Inquisition, it's starting to make a little bit more sense to me. But it's also, its flaws are starting to annoy me a little bit more. I'll say that much. Because once you get to the point where you have more free reign over which quests you want to choose, which ones you want to take on, and which ones you want to send people out to do, it starts to... I guess it's nice to maybe have that freedom, but it's also a little annoying because it's hard to tell at first glance, or maybe this is just me, and maybe I'll feel a little bit differently in the weeks to come. This is just kind of like my initial impressions, right? It's a little bit hard to tell at first glance what each quest on the map is supposed to be, because I think most of them tend to look kind of the same. They're just like little spots on the map. I think sometimes if there's like an important one, it'll have like a weird black and green cloud over it on the map, and some of them you'll click on and you'll send your forces to go take care of for you. And then some of them you'll have specific, I guess, war council members, people who don't really fight with you, like your, what's her name? Josephine, Leilani, and Cullen, right? Those three. You can have them deal with it. Then there are also different ones that you have, like, I think it's like your forces and your spies, and then like maybe a third thing that you control that you can dispatch to go do things. And then there are some that you click on and then you have to go do it with some people. And I'm sure maybe there's like some little way to distinguish at first glance, like, oh yeah, that's clearly one of these kind, that's clearly one of these kind. Maybe I'm just blind, or I mean, part of this too, actually, I said I was going to talk about this earlier. Part of it too is I think I've been playing this game a lot while I'm streaming, and when I'm streaming, I have kind of like a go mentality where I really want to get to the next big cutscene. I really want to get to like the next big decision that's going to create a fork in the story of the game. I really want to get to like these big moments, and I kind of want to minimize the moments where I'm just like riding around on my horse. Oh, by the way, we finally did the horse quest. We have a horse now. But I kind of want to minimize those moments where I'm just going around the open world, because there's also, and this is another thing I'll talk about, so I guess the last thing wasn't the last thing, but the open world in this game can be kind of frustrating the way it's laid out, right? It's not like Breath of the Wild, where in Breath of the Wild, just in case you haven't played it, you can basically like place down a waypoint on the map anywheres and go from your location to that location in a straight line if you wanted to. Okay, now there's going to be terrain, there's going to be stuff in your way, and so going in a straight line may not be the fastest, right? Because it may require you to like climb over a mountain, and where it would be faster to like just go around or something. But you'll be able to do it. And what's kind of annoying about the way that Dragon Age Inquisition works is you don't have the map all filled out in the beginning, so you can't see the terrain. And so when you're told to go like, okay, start down here, this is where you are, up here, this is where your objective is, and then I spend all this time like, I go up, boop, that doesn't work, but now I'm in a valley and I can't go left or right, so I have to go back. So let me try circling around. Oh no, that doesn't work because there's a mountain range, and now I'm all the way up here. I way overshot my target. So now let me go all the way back down, and now let me go over here and up and around, and now I can get to my objective. I'm sorry, I know that wasn't like the most clear description. It's the kind of thing that I think if I was in college and it was the weekend and I was already determined not to do any work and I was just gonna hang out and play a game and enjoy myself, I think I would be more okay with it, because I think I would look at all these little things as cool. These are like little gameplay loops that I can enjoy. But I think as someone who's streaming this game and, you know, making content out of it, it's been a little bit frustrating. And so that's why I think this week what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to spend some time off stream in my own time, which I already don't have a lot of, but I'm going to try to spend some time off stream actually just sitting down with the game, reading the things, not feeling like, oh, people are watching me and they don't want to watch me read something and they just want to see me get to the next big thing. Like, I'm going to try to spend some time just doing some random, harmless, inconsequential side quests, fleshing out the lore, learning a little bit more about the world for myself, and hopefully that improves my digestion of the game, for lack of a better word. Because I think right now that's like one of the bigger hangups I'm having. Because so much else about this game is really, really, really good. Everything about the story, everything about the companion interactions. It's really funny actually, because I think we were talking about some of the companions last week, and I had kind of made it clear that there are some that I really, really like, right? Vivian. And then there's like some that I consider like pretty good, and there are some that I think are just kind of boring. Blackwall, like in particular, I thought was like super, super boring. But he had some like lines of dialogue this week that I thought were really endearing, and some interactions, like not even like in cutscenes, but just interactions that he had during missions or during like traveling things where I'm walking around with my party that I thought were really cool. And it also helps that he's very good at taking aggro away from me in combat. I really like that too. So everyone is like kind of growing on me, right? There are people who I liked right away. There are people who I was kind of disgusted by right away. The bald elf I didn't care for, but he's also growing on me like quite a lot. Yeah, I'm having a really, really good time with all that stuff. I think the questing, open world exploration kind of content is maybe not landing for me, mostly because I'm doing it on stream. But I think if I do it off stream, I'll gain a better appreciation for it. I really think so. I think that's all I have for you guys this week. Listen, if you have anything to say about anything I said, if you want to call me dumb, if you want to totally agree with me, that's super welcome. But whatever you do, try to keep it spoiler free, because I'm still going through the story. I don't want to like, there have been a few things that I've like picked up on from like the Reddit and stuff that were like comments that I started reading, and I would get to a certain point and they'd mention a certain character and I just I'd be like, nope, I'm done. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to be spoiled. And I think I've done a pretty good job so far, but you know, help me out, be on my side. I think it'll make the rest of these video game diaries the best. And you know what? Hope you like this one, because I'll see you next week in the next one. Peace. Love you guys. I think that's good, right, Jen? That's pretty good.